and he together at Lake Placid in 1980 is unforgettable. We lost Dryden a couple of weeks ago, I guess. I don't know if you were still close to him, but he was really a great, but not just as a player, but in what he did for hockey and around hockey after his playing days.
I'll tell you, Mike, that was like a dagger. I felt like I got hit by a sledgehammer that day when I read that. I didn't know Kenny was sick. Yeah, Kenny and I stayed in touch for all of these years. I mean, we talk maybe 3 times a year. We might see each other once every 3 or 4 years at a certain event. I loved him. I mean, he was so special, and of course, I share the ultimate moment of my career, the pinnacle of my career in terms of a game to broadcast. I'll always share that with Ken. Ken was a private man. I didn't know he was sick, and I don't know anybody who I know who knew Ken who knew he was sick until the end. But they, you talk about a Renaissance man, and we like to use that term loosely. And sometimes, if a guy read 3 books in his life, we call him a Renaissance man. Kenny was the real Renaissance man. Don't forget, this is a man who had a fantastic career, 6 Stanley Cups, 5 Vezina trophies, retired at the apex of his career because he had so much more in life that he wanted to do. And the first thing, he got into broadcasting. We wind up doing the Olympics. Kenny passed the bar exam in the middle of the Olympics between the Romania game on a Wednesday night and the Soviet game on Friday, got driven to Ottawa, passed the bar exam.
Wow.
And then he went on to, then after Lake Placid, he moved the family. He wanted the family to experience living in a different country. They moved to London. He was studying at Cambridge at that particular point. He would eventually go on to become a parliamentarian. He ran for and won a seat in Parliament. People thought, and I thought so too, without question, Kenny could have been the Prime Minister of Canada. Obviously, you got the English-speaking most of Canada, but the French-speaking Quebec. But he was loved. He was loved on both sides of it as a Montreal Canadian, superstar, and as just a man who clearly would have been, I think, one of the great politicians in history. But Kenny became disenfranchised with politics, so he backed out of that. Became the president of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He wrote 6 or 7 books, including a book called The Game, about first person, the goalie, as the Montreal Canadiens, and what it's like to stand there on the ice. The knob on the stick, of course, is that one shot we'll never forget. Yeah.